Beatrice? What the hell was that stunt you pulled at the funeral? How could you act like that when your husband just died? I get that you're probably not in a good place emotionally right now, but there is no justification for shouting out, "His inheritance is finally mine," in the middle of the ceremony. And what the hell was that maniacal laugh you did afterwards? There are some things you just don't do. Well, would you look at who's preaching at me? You've got some nerve, Yasmin. If I'm not mistaken, the only reason you married my son Denzel was for his money. You're no better than me. We're practically in the same boat here, so how about you get off your high horse and drop that disgusting self-righteous attitude of yours? I promise you that is not why I married Denzel. Now I've heard it all. Playing the innocent good girl is easy, but it's obvious what you were after when you look at how much you've gained by marrying him. Not only are you now the wife of a company president, but he also gave you an executive position. Convincing my son to marry you not only landed you a high-status husband, but also a high-status job. And you've got the nerve to preach at me? I'm just a plain old stay-at-home housewife. You make me look like an amateur. I should be asking you for tips. Ugh, will you just listen to me? I'm telling you, it wasn't like that at all. You literally couldn't be more wrong. I got promoted to managing director of the company before we got married, and it had nothing to do with my relationship with Denzel. I was already a manager when we met, for crying out loud. Quit making hurtful accusations based on nothing but speculation. Anyway, quit trying to change the subject. Fine, point taken. Okay, dear, I admit it. Boldly proclaiming my right to my husband's inheritance in front of everyone at the funeral like that was tactless and immature. But when I think about how before long, I'll be the proud owner of $2 million, I just can't contain my glee. Huh? Wait a sec. $2 million. As in $2 million. We'll be discussing the inheritance with the lawyer soon, right? You have no right to lecture me on this when you're not in line to inherit a single cent. Sure, I wasn't Frank's legal heir, so I get it's not really my place to get involved, but with the way you behaved at the funeral, I just had to say something. How about you get a grip and show some respect? That was Frank's, your husband's funeral. Would it really have hurt you to have shown some respect for the deceased? How do you think he'd feel if he knew you were after his money all along? Do you have any idea how disgusted everyone was with you? I don't know how else to tell you this, so I'm just gonna say it. The entire family despises you now, so I think you should proceed very carefully from here on out. Who cares? They're just jealous that I'm about to inherit a cool $2 million, and they're gonna be left broke and penniless by the wayside. Getting upset over everyone's petty complaints wouldn't get me anywhere now, would it? Beatrice, won't you please just listen to me? Won't you just try to understand what I'm saying here as your daughter-in-law? Frank was loved by a lot of people. Surely you can understand why they might be shocked at you bragging about your inheritance at his funeral. Surely you can see why it might not be wise to go around making enemies like this. You need to be careful. I'm serious. I don't know what might happen if you make any more careless, insensitive remarks like that. This could have serious knock-on effects down the line for you. Fine. Point taken. Is the sermon over now, Vicar? Can I go home? Jeez, I'm so bored of your whining, I think I might actually keep my mouth shut in the future if it means being spared the self-righteous preaching. Wow. You have no intention of self-reflecting, do you? Fine, whatever. If the threat of my preaching is what it takes for you not to say outrageously hurtful things, then so be it. Please be more careful in the future. You really are the most insolent little witch I've ever met.
Hey, Yasmin. I decided to come home. I left things at my dad's house to my aunt and uncle.
Oh, good evening, Denzel.
I'm so sorry about today.
Why would you apologize?
I'm sorry for what Beatrice did at the funeral. I know she might only have been my dad's second wife and isn't my real mum, but in a sense, she was still there in the capacity of my mum. What with being my dad's wife and all. There's no excusing what she did. Even though you cut her off mid-cackle and remonstrated her for her despicable behaviour, even though you're forced to go around apologising to all of the guests at the funeral, she clearly had no intention of apologising and didn't feel bad about what she did in the slightest.
Right. I just feel completely stupefied every time I think about it. You'd think the wife of a wealthy business owner would understand the importance of presenting herself well to the world and knowing how to conduct herself in public. I messaged her about it after, but she carried on being as arrogant and insensitive as she was at the funeral.
Her behaviour at the funeral made it pretty obvious she only ever married my dad for his money. I mean, I guess I'd be lying if I said I didn't already know what kind of person she was before all this. But that little stunt she just pulled took my disdain to her to a whole new level. We're gonna have to keep our eyes on her for a little while.
You're right. Hello, Yasmin. I'm going on vacation. Excuse me? Apparently there were a couple of guests who couldn't make it to the funeral due to a family emergency, so they'll be stopping by at the house to make their apologies and give their condolences shortly. Make sure you're home to receive them. Vacation? What the hell are you playing at? Your husband's barely been dead a week. It's only been 3 days since the funeral. How insensitive can you be? Do you have no idea how inappropriately you're behaving, or do you just not care? What do you suggest I do with all this free time I have on my hands? Huh? Thinking about my $2 million is a nice, happy distraction, and it puts a big smile on my face, but I'm not actually going to have it until the inheritance procedures are finalized with the lawyer. None of my friends, mostly the wives of CEOs and celebrities, are inviting me to social events because they think I'm grieving. To make matters worse, I can't even stay at the house because of all the gloomy, miserable people showing up to give their condolences. If I don't get a change of scenery soon, I might get depressed and kill myself. Oh my God! Well, your friends are obviously mistaken because you're clearly not grieving at all. I can't even believe what I'm reading. Is there nothing but a big black hole where your heart should be? Quit lecturing me and come to the house immediately. I've already left. I can't risk missing my flight. Your flight? What the hell? All right, toodles, honey pumpkin. Gah! When are you gonna stop acting like this?
Yasmin, is it true she went on vacation?
Yes. I have no idea where she's going or when she'll be back. She left without giving me any details. I've been blowing up her phone with calls and messages, but she's completely ignoring me.
God damn it. I really am sorry.
Why would you apologize to me, Denzel?
Because in the eye of the world, she is kinda seen as my mum.
Who cares about the eyes of the world? You're my husband. You don't have to worry about things like that with me. Don't sweat it. I'm unfazed.
Thanks, babe.
There is something I need to ask you, though.
What is it?
It's about the inheritance. Beatrice seems to think she's in line to receive $2 million. Is that true?
Excuse me? $2 million?
Right? I wonder where the hell she got that idea from.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
What in the Lord's almighty name is going on here? What the hell was that crap written on that will? It said all of my husband's properties and assets went to Denzel while he was still alive? And I, his wife, am left with nothing but a measly $50,000? The rest of his money was donated to a cancer charity. Oh, I can't believe it. This is the ultimate betrayal. Yep, there you have it. You kinda just answered your own question, so I'm not really sure what to say. Seems like you understand the will perfectly. What did you do? This is all the result of one of your cunning little schemes, isn't it, woman? I bet you've been planning this scenario ever since my husband was still alive, haven't you? No, the will has nothing to do with me. What happened to the $2 million I was supposed to inherit? Yeah, about that. I never really understood how you managed to convince yourself you were in line to inherit $2 million. Would you mind explaining? What is there to explain? Isn't it obvious? I heard his first wife got $2 million, so I thought I'd get the same. Why would he pay his current wife less than his ex? Huh? By his ex-wife, do you mean Denzel's mother? Who else would I be talking about, bird brain? Ah, I think I understand now. Where the hell did my $2 million disappear to? Your $2 million is already gone. Huh? What did you just say? How could my $2 million be gone? What does that even mean? Denzel's mom manages a high-end burger joint in New York. Frank owned it, but she runs it. Apparently the yearly revenue hit the $2 million mark just before Frank passed away. Huh? A yearly revenue? I'm guessing that's where you got the $2 million figure from. Oh, and before you get excited, the restaurant was left to Denzel's little brother and his wife, so you won't be getting that either. Basically, that $2 million you convinced yourself you were set to inherit didn't actually have anything to do with the inheritance at all. Oh my god, oh, this can't be happening. You mean my $2 million never even existed? Yes, exactly. Still, you did get $50,000. That's hardly a small sum of money, Beatrice. Surely that should be enough for you. $50,000 is nothing, you imbecile! It'll be gone before I even manage to pay off all my debts! Huh? Your debts? Since when were you in debt? I thought I was in line to receive a fat $2 million, so I started being a little liberal with my spending. I ate at luxury restaurants, replaced my entire wardrobe with branded clothing, and even started visiting a male strip club. And that's not to even mention my vacation to Hawaii and my stay at their best luxury 5-star hotel. How do you think I paid for all of that stuff? I went into debt, you idiot! Wow. So are you telling me the total of all that stuff came to more than $50,000? I'll be completely broke when I pay everything off. What are you going to do to fix this, young lady? And why exactly would I do that? Aha, of course! You're to relinquish your position as managing director at my son's company to me at once. Excuse me? Everyone knows corporate bigwigs get paid absurd sums of money to do nothing but laze around in their offices while barking orders at people all day. Even I, a stay-at-home housewife, could do that. Yes, that's it. The solution to my problems: with your salary, I'll have my debt paid off in no time, and before long, I'll be able to start spending money and enjoying my life again. I can assure you, managing a company definitely isn't as much of a cakewalk as you seem to think it is. Huh? Sure, me being chosen for this job is unprecedented at the company with how young I am, so I guess an outsider could be forgiven for thinking it's not that difficult if someone my age can do it. But the only reason I made it this far is because I worked hard ever since day one. I made my way up through the ranks and did everything by the book. I certainly didn't make it to where I am through special treatment, and it didn't have anything to do with me being Denzel, the company president's wife. I earned my position through nothing but grit, determination, and hard work, and that's a fact. Oh, wow, Yasmin, there's no need to get upset. How the heck did you think I was going to respond to hearing my job being described as lazing around in my office while barking orders at people all day, after slowly clawing my way through the ranks by sacrificing my personal life due to constant overtime and overnight stays at the office for years to get it? It'd be weirder if having to deal with a crazy bitch like you didn't make me angry. Fine, a point taken. You can keep your job. But you are going to have to provide me with some form of recompense for the unfortunate situation you've put me in. You'll spare some money for your mother-in-law, won't you, dear? I'm in a rather awkward position here. For the situation I put you in? What the hell are you talking about? Anyway, don't you have your pension? Why can't you live on that? Sure I do, but it's hardly much. I sure as heck won't be able to rely on it for the rest of my life. I need security, dear. And why is that my problem? You can play the sympathy card till you're blue in the face for all I care. I'm not giving you a single cent. Denzel is the CEO now after inheriting the company from his dad. You are not, nor have you ever, been in any position to interfere with anything related to the company. Surely if you put in a good word for me with Denzel, he'll be able to arrange some monthly payments for me to live on. It's not like I'm asking for much, just $10K a month will do. Are you seriously asking for $10,000 a month from a company you have nothing to do with? Your arrogance truly knows no bounds. Then what do you suggest I do? Would you see me out on the streets begging for handouts? Would it really kill you to get a job? Huh? A job? You're still in your 40s. There's literally no reason you can't get a job and work like the rest of us. If you want to work at our company, then you'll just have to apply when we start recruiting again, just like anyone else would. You're not entitled to handouts or easy access just because of me and Denzel. On the other hand, there's also no reason you can't get a job there if you meet the conditions and make a good impression during the interview. So why not go for it? Who the hell do you think you are, young lady? This is no way to speak to your mother-in-law, you condescending little brat. You should think more carefully before you speak. You're my daughter-in-law, and you and my son have a sacred duty to provide for me. Actually, you're technically not related to either of us anymore. Huh? You were Denzel's mother-in-law, which I guess kind of made you my mom-in-law too. But what with his dad passing, you're nothing but strangers to us both now. Well, I... Also, the house you're currently living in belongs to Denzel now. If you want to carry on living there, you're gonna have to start paying rent. Rent? Based on the size of the place and the way the rental market's going lately, you're probably gonna be looking at least $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month? Have you lost your goddamn mind? If it's too much for you, I suggest you find somewhere else to live. But I don't have any money. It's been 10 years since me and Denzel met Beatrice. Ever since that time, she had the privilege of living a life of leisure and carefree luxury as a stay-at-home housewife on Denzel's dad's dime, without ever having to work once. However, her life of luxury and relaxation fell apart in an instant with the shocking and sudden passing of her husband. As expected, the $50,000 she did inherit immediately disappeared when she used it to pay off the debt she'd accrued after spectacularly convincing herself she was set to receive a tidy $2 million. In a desperate attempt to avoid working, she begged her relatives for money. But unfortunately for her, the whole family disowned her after witnessing her reprehensible antics at the funeral. And she didn't have a soul left in the world to rely on. When they suggested she go to the job center to try and find work, to everyone's surprise, she actually listened and, miraculously, actually found a job. She finally moved out of Denzel's house 2 weeks ago. Maybe you won't be surprised to hear she got into a fight with one of her coworkers on her first day at her new job. And with that, her prospects of carrying on there disintegrated. With that, Beatrice's attempt at reintegrating into society after 10 years flopped in an epic fashion. And she found herself once again lost, desperate, broke, and alone.
Darling, I just got to our suite, and you aren't here. I thought you said you were skipping swimming to take a nap.
Yeah, but I changed my mind.
You sure that's it?
Of course it is. Why would you even ask that?
Because you've been acting weird since our first night here, and we ran into Penelope.
I told you to let that go.
She's your ex, Penelope, isn't she?
Don't go there right now.
Why shouldn't I? You've been acting weird. You barely said a full sentence to me since then. It's our honeymoon, for crying out loud. We should be enjoying this experience.
You think I don't know it's our honeymoon? And we are having a good time. It's a beautiful resort.
I don't care for any of that. I just want us to enjoy it together.
We're here together, aren't we? I'm failing to see the problem here.
We haven't even had one meal together since we arrived. You always loved eating with me, and now you avoid it at all cost. I'm asking you again, who is Penelope?
No one, just a random stranger we ran into in the lobby.
If she's indeed a random stranger, then how does she have such an impact on you? You haven't been yourself since.
If I said she's a nobody, then accept that.
This wasn't how I imagined my honeymoon going. If I did offend you, I'm sorry.
Baby, you did nothing wrong. I'm just out making some work calls. See you soon.
You always say that, but then you don't come back until it's past 11 p.m.
Let's not start something out of nothing. Plus, there's a ton of activities you can participate in if you get bored. Emily, do tell me why I just ran into Jordan in the lobby. What on earth is my older brother doing here?
I see now you're up for having conversations.
Don't play games with me. I asked you a question.
I called him to come over.
You know how strained my relationship with my older brother is, and yet you still called him over? Have you forgotten we're on our honeymoon?
That's rich coming from you, who's also seemed to forget that Jordan is still my best friend.
I don't know what you're playing at, but it isn't funny. You shouldn't have invited Jordan over. Tell him to leave right this instant.
You do not order me around.
I'm serious, Emily.
So am I.
Hey, I just checked into my room and guess who I ran into in the lobby?
Sean?
I see you haven't lost your psychic powers.
More like Sean told me.
I see.
Thank you for coming.
Of course. Anything for my best friend?
I'll see you in a few minutes. Let's meet at the poolside.
Deal.
Hey. Hi. Sorry, who's this? Penelope. Oh, hi. How'd you get my contact? I asked Sean for it the other day when we ran into each other at the lobby. Oh yeah. What's up? Nothing really. I saw you at the poolside last night with Jordan, and I was wondering if you could introduce me to him. You're sure your husband wouldn't mind? George? Oh, George won't mind. He barely knows what's going on these days. His health isn't getting any better, you know. If it's okay with George, then sure I can. Good. Would today work for you? That's a bit sudden. I know, but why wait, right? Right. We can all meet up in an hour or so. Just enough time for me to get ready. Okay then.
Let me take you out to dinner.
Why the sudden change of heart?
Nothing. I just want to eat a meal with you. We're married, after all. It's not a difficult task.
I didn't say it was a difficult task. I just have other engagements tonight.
It's our honeymoon. What other engagement could you have?
That isn't pertinent.
You're going to dinner with Jordan, aren't you?
Why do I sense a hint of accusation in your tone?
So I'm right.
And if you are?
You're blowing off your husband?
No, I'm merely giving him a taste of his own medicine. Surely my dear husband must remember what occurred merely a few days ago?
So you're getting back at me?
No, shallow and petty of me. I'm merely gonna have dinner with my best friend.
And I'm your husband.
You seem to forget that I knew Jordan long before I knew you, and we wouldn't have met if not through Jordan. But do have a good evening.
Emily.
Did you see the person who dropped the package off at your room? Oh no, I didn't. The doorbell rang, and before I got there, the person was gone. I only checked the parcel and saw your name on it, so I decided to inform you. Oh, why do you ask? Oh, it's nothing, okay? You sure about that? Yeah, I am.
What were the contents of the package?
Copies of the signed document.
How were you able to get that?
Sean didn't think to change the location, even after she signed it.
Wow.
But that makes things better for us.
Have you drafted the second contract?
Yes, I have. I'll give it to you later.
Okay, that's out of the way now. On to the next thing.
You know what to do. Hi, girl. Hey, have you figured out the issue with the package switch up? Oh, don't worry about that. It was nothing. Alright, so what's up then? Nothing. I'm just lonely in my suite. Oh, isn't George around? Yeah, he is, but I don't enjoy his company. Why's that? Just between us. Sure, you can tell me anything. George has dementia, and this trip was his last wish. That's so sad. Not really, I couldn't care less. Oh, I'm really tired of having to take care of him all the time. It's exhausting. You'll be fine. Yeah, in a few months, all this will be nothing but a distant memory. What do you mean? Don't worry about that. George is awake now. Okay. Talk to you later. I just got another mystery package. Again, that's weird. It's important. How can I figure out who's been delivering this? Perhaps you can ask the front desk? I'll phone them now. Let me know how it goes. Yeah, I will.
How much longer do I need to keep this act up?
Just up until tomorrow. Once you can get her to sign those documents, it'll be all over and we'll leave this resort.
Tomorrow can't come any faster.
Everything has to go well. Everything we've worked for is counting on tomorrow.
I understand that more than you know, and I'll make sure everything is done smoothly.
I trust you will.
Also, shouldn't we discuss what happened the other night?
Nothing happened.
We can't keep avoiding it.
After we're done with all this, then we can talk about the kiss we shared.
Alright. Hey baby,
What's up?
I know you're pissed.
Why would you think that?
We haven't spent much time together at all on this trip.
Where's this coming from?
I don't know, I just don't like how we spent the trip.
Oh, now you realize.
Let's just put it behind us?
No, thank you.
Don't be difficult. Emily?
Hello, I'm Emily, Sean's wife.
Hello?
Oh, thank God. I didn't think you were going to respond because Penelope told me you were in bed sick.
Yeah, but I'm feeling much better now.
That's great news.
Is there a reason why you couldn't send me a text?
Oh, yes. I want to discuss something with you. It's about your wife.
Penelope, you have my full attention.
There's no way to sugarcoat this. Penelope is Sean's ex, and she's planning on getting back together with him.
Look, woman, you don't get to message me to insult my wife, okay?
Just hear me out.
No, I won't even condone this. If you're having issues with your husband, then you need to fix that.
If you don't believe me, here's the proof of how they were planning to elope together.
This is fabricated.
It's not. Look closely, and you'll see her signature in the document.
Well, I'm planning on doing this after all I've done for her.
I didn't believe my husband was capable of this either.
Thanks for letting me know. I had my suspicions that something was off.
I'm so sorry you had to find out this way.
Thank you once again.
Sure. You are behind all this. Be more specific, Penelope. Suddenly, it all makes sense. The letters, the mails I kept getting threatening to expose me to George. Those were from you. I trusted you. Oh, come on, you didn't. Before Jordan arrived, you were ready to sink your gold-digging claws into Sean. I can't believe you'd do something like this. You mean you thought of me as naive, and you're surprised that I outsmarted you? One look at you, and I could tell that you didn't feel anything toward Sean, but unfortunately, Sean couldn't see that. He loved you and was ready to ruin me for you. We're both women. We both know how hard it is to earn a living as a woman. I had to take what I got. No, there are other ways to earn an honest living. No, there are other ways to earn an honest living, Penelope. You can't reap where you did not sow. And now George would know too. I wonder how his fragile heart will take to your betrayal. No, please. Let's leave George out of this. I'm afraid it's too late for that. I've kept it in, stayed by his side, and taken care of him while he's sick. You have no idea what it's like. You didn't do it out of the goodness of your heart. You did it with the mindset of using him as your retirement plan. So that once he dies, all his estate goes to the good-hearted widow who was with him during his last days. And what difference does it make? It makes all the difference, and perhaps you should go and check and be sure George hasn't left.
Emily, where are you? We need to talk. I just asked the front desk and was told you checked out. That's not true, right?
I'm afraid it's true, darling.
You can't leave. We need to talk.
We're talking now, aren't we?
Even though you can't see me, I'm on my knees begging you not to do this to me.
Do what exactly?
Not to leave me. I'm nothing without you.
Weren't you the one who wanted to leave me? How have the roles changed?
I'm sorry, Emily. Penelope truly means nothing to me.
She means nothing, and yet you wanted to give her 50% of your wealth?
How'd you know?
Maybe next time, don't leave such documents lying around.
You went through my things? You had no right.
It was in our suitcase, and you still didn't think to remove it, even after she signed the documents.
I don't know what to say, but it doesn't matter. Just please.
Now that you no longer have Penelope and 70% of your wealth is gone, you want me back? I wonder if you'd still feel the same if you knew I'm the one in control of that 70%.
You fooled me.
No, you fooled yourself. It was easy to push you into giving Penelope the contract once Jordan arrived, as I could clearly see how jealous you were that Penelope was giving him all her attention. Even all her attention.
Even my own brother was in on this.
Of course.
You're such a heartless person.
I am heartless. You wanted to give my entire savings to your ex-fiancée and run away with her, leaving me behind. If this is your poor attempt at gaslighting me, it isn't working.
I'll never let you get away with this. The money, I'm gonna reclaim every penny of it.
I'd like to see you try. I'm about to board the plane, gotta go. However, be sure to clear the bills before you leave the hotel. You can't leave without making the payments. I knew Sean had already given the documents to Penelope, which I couldn't find in the suite anymore. So I had to draw up another document in which the money will be transferred to a joint account me and Jordan set up. I took pictures of the signed documents and kept sending them to her room, with threats of exposing her to her husband. In the meantime, Jordan was working on tricking Penelope into thinking it was a private account, and they would elope after the money was transferred. All we needed to do was convince her to persuasion. I felt bad for George, who Penelope had used as a pawn in her game. He needed to know the truth. And this was the main reason why I sent him the signed copy of the document of the transfer of wealth between Sean and Penelope, so he could read the clauses in it and see how bad Penelope had played him. I was glad everything was behind me, and now, after so many years have passed, it's all like a distant memory, almost as if it didn't happen. But I knew it did. The first thing I did when I got back was to divorce Sean. Penelope had been left broke after George left her, and decided to donate his wealth to charity before his demise. Penelope's reputation had taken a huge blow that it was impossible for her to work in any professional capacity. Although I haven't heard from her ever since, I suspect she must have left the city, or moved to the most remote area, where she can afford a living making money from odd jobs. As for Sean, he was disowned by his family after they heard of what he attempted to do. I decided to remarry. 3 years later, I've been told there's no better foundation for a marriage than friendship. So I decided to get married to Jordan, as even after all of that, he was still by my side.